Right. I think we should be live now. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of This Printer's Way Too Big for My Desk, where I attempt to build the Ratrig VCore 3, which is way too big for my desk. So this is the 300 cube variant. It goes 200mm larger than this if you want that. Anyway, so today we're going to be carrying on with the assembly. Obviously we've done the kind of linear rails and X-gantry last time, although this afternoon I've noticed that all the screws are loose in these rails, so either I missed a step or we'll be doing that today when we do the bed assembly, which is what we're going to be doing today. So the bed assembly is got these, let's not describe it, let's just get on with it, I think. So yes, hello everyone in chat, hello to everyone who's not been to a live stream before, and welcome back to everyone who has. Hopefully you're excited. I'm pretty excited. I do like building this machine. It's been a really good build. This is what, the 5th part now. And it's not the fastest build in the world, which is good in my mind. I like the time that it takes to build machines. So yeah, it's been a rather enjoyable little journey. So we'll be carrying on until we get it done. It's not going to be all tonight, just so you know, but we'll be carrying on certainly, and we'll get as far as we get. Starting of course with the bed assembly. Before we do that, just a quick thank you message to the sponsors. So a quick, like 15 seconds, just to let you know who's sponsoring the video. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, Ratrig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. So a big thank you to them for supporting the live stream. Carry on watching to find out more, or you can follow the links in the video description. So yes, big thank you to those sponsors. Otherwise, without them, none of this at all would have been possible. So good. We'll hear a lot more about them a little bit later on. And of course, you'll be seeing the VCore 3, which is this, all the way through the live stream. So now I think we've delayed enough to let people join. Let's get on. So of course we're going to be doing the bed assembly to begin with. We've done everything up to there, so bed assembly we'll start with. We might get onto the extruder, hot end, EVA, carriage, but we'll get started with the bed assembly and see how far we get. So I'm sitting on my foot at the moment, so that's starting to go numb, just because the camera angles are all starting to get a bit difficult. As I said, this is way too big for my desk here. It's only a little desk, so building large printers on it can be a bit of a challenge, but we're getting there. So obviously, just a mention of the warning regarding magnets, a danger to yourself as well as to themselves. So be careful when handling them, and I shall be careful when handling them as much as I can, although I do anticipate probably hurting myself because I'm concentrating on multiple things at once here, or at least trying to. So this is what the magnets look like. They're quite small, but hopefully you can see. Let's get them out of the bag. By all accounts they are quite strong, so you do need to be careful. You can see they've got countersinks in them. There we go. You can gym while you watch. Enjoy yourself, Rowan. Really let loose. Let your hair down. Hope you're doing well, by the way. So, bed arms. Let's get going. Do have to be a bit careful with where I put these, I guess. Not sure where's going to be a good idea. Back in their bag, perhaps, for now. I want to stick them to something. So we've got a bunch of printed parts. And 3x20 countersinks, M3 hex nuts. Right, I'm going to move the printer out the way for a bit while we work on this smaller parts of the assembly. that thing is starting to get really quite heavy. Don't need these little red bits now, these are from previous assembly. So these are the I think Delrin or POM, P-O-M, poly something, acetyl something, can't remember the exact names, but there you go, you got 3 nuts, 3 of those, 2, 4, 6, and then that goes with 1 of each of those. So there's 3 arms for the bed. Everyone likes their 3 points make a plane statement, so of course we have 3 sets of those. We have some kind of balls, we have some pins. What else do we need? Of course the magnets, the aforementioned strong magnets, 535 spare parts, 5 to 16, no. There's not like a little list for that bit. Is that the summary bit? Okay, that's the like the summary stage at the start, isn't it? Oh no, there's kind of assembly steps here, but with also other stuff also shown on top. Most of the steps repeat for all the arms, others are repeated for the front arms, and there's a special step for the back arm. Fit the magnets in the bed arms and drop the countersink screws M3 by 20. Countersink screws M3 by 20. It's not EVA. There we go, countersink M3 by 20. Fasten the magnets by attaching 2 M3 hex nuts from the bottom of each arm. So 2, 4, 6 again. We need those printed parts. So you got 1 arm, another arm, and a 3rd arm, and this piece I know we need later. I had a bit of a preview of this assembly stage before I got started today, so I know a little bit about what's going to be going on, which I don't normally do, to be honest, but I had a little bit of extra time before the stream started, so I scouted ahead just a couple of steps. Self-lubricating plastics are fantastic, of course they are. Thanks for the input. Where do I get my custom shirts? It's a good question. I just googled custom shirts, I think, and just picked what was cheapest. So can't really help you with exactly where I got them from. I do not remember. I got them a little while back now, so. Ooh. They do look good, thank you. Pretty neat, aren't they? I was thinking of getting some like polo shirts and t-shirts and hoodies and stuff as well, but I didn't think, I mean, I can't do like graphic design or anything, so any t-shirts and stuff that I did sell would be like literally just this logo, but there you go. I quite like having them. I think they just look a bit more professional when you're going to like an exhibition and interviewing people, for example. It just looks a bit more, just a bit smarter than rocking up with your random t-shirt or whatnot. So there you go. So we need some hex nuts to go in the bottom. These look like those. Haven't been working with like M5 and M6. The M3 stuff starts to look really small. So 2, 4, 6. Pretty sure this is M3. Yep. Good, 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 good. Right, let's see if I can get these magnets in without damaging them. Where's the angle? Good, 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 good. Gonna need a smaller one than that. I think 2mm. Using a hex key near a magnet, not super easy. Come on. Yes. We do have like 50 people here now. Oh, by the way, don't forget to leave a like. I forgot to ask at all, I think, in the last stream, the last one, but there you go. Doesn't really matter that much. Just boosts my ego a bit. Can't get this one in. There we go. The bed dance is something that the bed does, right? Just to be clear, that's not something I've got to do after completing the bed. There's no celebratory bed-related dance that's required after doing that step. And that's one magnet. Second magnet. Oops, it isn't. Yeah, that's that bed dancing. I know what you're talking about. It's not going to be today because obviously you need your electronics and stuff all powered up and moving. So won't be quite that exciting, I'm afraid. But it will be coming soonish, I suppose, when we get all the electronics and stuff installed. There's not too many more mechanical steps now. We got obviously this bed assembly and then the hot end and extruder, and then we're on to control board, wiring, firmware, and then we'll be able to print. That's the second magnet. Magnet 3. Which hot end / extruder combo did you pick? So I wouldn't say I necessarily picked them because I wanted to get, for purpose of doing an objective review, which I'll be doing once the whole assembly and stuff is done, I wanted something that would be kind of the same for everyone kind of thing, which is difficult when you have a kit that is so versatile and configurable, because anyone can just order different things and it wouldn't be the same result. So RackRig do a kind of default configuration, if you like. So that would be like the basic things that they suggest. If you don't know anything more or anything different, then that would be the configuration to go for. And that's what I'm then basing my review off of. So this is the default kit. So on the default kit, you have the hot end is an E3D V6. My particular one will be gold, because the gold heatsink is cheaper than the normal heatsink when you're just buying a heatsink. And the hot end, the extruder rather, is the Bondtech. So that's my combo. Hopefully pretty good combo. And then I'll probably look at doing like other high flow options and stuff at some other point. Maybe after the review, and I can fiddle around and play a bit with it. BMG indeed. Mine's actually the BMG-M, because I got it from 3D Printz, and unfortunately they were out of stock of the normal BMG. But by the looks of it, because they're slightly separated in the design, that final interface is not going to be a problem. Never used a Bondtech extruder before, really. I had one obviously for the Caribou, but only in my possession for a very short amount of time. Insert the dowel pins. Each bed arm takes two 3x35mm dowels. Gently press or twist the dowels into the holes. Be careful not to crack the part. There are many easy ways to do this safely. Using force is not one of them. Screwing those in as one would a screw is a good practice. You can even use a drill on low RPM to push them in. Oopsie daisy. So of course what we're trying to do is insert the pins as you might do with a other pin. Yeah, so you just kind of slowly try and rotate it in. Mine doesn't look like it's going to quite line up. I'm going to get a set of pliers, I think, to help me with mine, just to get a little bit extra grip strength, because the stainless steel is really smooth. I think for the last few millimeters, the only option will be to push it, but that should be fine. Because you can't really grip that. No, that's I don't think going to be grippable either. Oh, this one goes in really easily. I don't actually know how far these go in. It looks like flush, so. Yeah, there's quite a bit of force needed for the last push. So I'm just, like I did with the other one, just push it on the flat side of the pliers. Just for the last bit, don't do that for the rest of it. Just for the last very small amount. Don't overdo it. There you go. So that's what mine looked like. Come on. This camera, I used to be really good at doing these close things. There you go. Cool. Evening, Simon. Nice to see you again. Yes, that's true. There's actually not that many printers. There's quite a few, but if you compare to other machines with lots of printed parts, it's actually not that many, which is good. It's nice to have some, but it's also nice to not have too much reliance on printed parts. Don't worry about missing stuff, that's absolutely fine. We've not done much yet, as you can see. So again, just going to push the last bit. I don't think that's possible to do any other way. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get those in any further, to be honest. Trouble is, if I press straight on the table, it'll just make a massive indentation in the table. Can't get that one in any further, really. That'll be fine though. It's this main bit in here that's important, so the fact that it's not completely all the way in, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all, really. It's warm doing this. The first one was quite easy, but these other second and third ones not quite so easy. Just try and have it. It's difficult to grab to push on something. Give this one a little push again. Whew. That was warm work. But we're in. Pretty happy with those. A little punishing on my hands, but that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I did. So where I was having trouble was after they were already in the hole. So I did notice that they. So as I pushed it most of the way in from it, like when it was sticking out here, it would often hit one of the walls there, and that's when I was careful. And then once it was in, that's when I used a bit more force. So there we go. We survived all of those without cracking the part, so that's good. Attach the lead screw nut blocks, which is these Darwin things. Put the M5 hex nuts into the blocks. So do these... Oh, they do require a bit of force by the looks of it. Ooh, not much force, but they do need a little bit. One. Two. Ooh, this one's nice and easy. Hello. And three. Fasten the blocks by threading cap head screws M5 by 35 through the plastic parts. M5 by 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remind me please if these parts are printed in ABS or something else. These parts are all printed in PETG. These are not printed, by the way. These are machined Delrin. All the green parts are PETG. But obviously, if you printed them yourself, you could print them in a different material if that was something you felt you wanted to do. Nope. Simon, are there more available than just STEP and STL? Because technically, STEP is not a source file, and obviously STL definitely isn't. Obviously, that's still quite open to be published in those files, but I think technically, to the letter of the law, one would require. That doesn't look quite straight. Oh no, maybe it is. Yeah, one would require the source files, which would be obviously the native geometry from whichever program it was made in. Okay, you got the entire model in Onshape. That's what I thought. Yeah, so that is most definitely open source. I've never actually used Onshape like in anger, as it were. I've looked at things in Onshape, but never designed in it. Is that not supposed to go in that gap, or have I just improvised it? I think I might have improvised a little bit there. Carry on. Sup, Mr. Maker? Welcome back. Recall 3 parts currently printing in the background. Good work. I didn't print my parts. I had them part as the kit. So I can, because obviously for the review, I want to be able to judge all the different aspects of what they're doing. So even though I could have obviously printed my own parts, it's worth having their parts just so we can judge to see what they're like, just to make sure we're not getting duds. Not that they would be. Just important when you do a review, I think, to try and get all the aspects rather than just some of them. Yeah, the bot will give you a slap if you try if you try and post links. It's not a thing, I'm afraid. Oh, I wonder if this nut should have gone on the top. I have no idea. I would prefer those parts being printed in ABS or something more heat resistant for full enclosure builds. I would be inclined to agree. Obviously, even with a full enclosure just being heated by the bed, I would be surprised if you could get hot enough to soften the parts. I see what you mean. Yeah, it feels like it gets a bit close, and ABS would be nice. Obviously, a bit more difficult to print parts in ABS, but yeah, I do totally understand that. Is this the best my money can buy? I don't know yet. I've not really used it. I'm just building it so far, so can't really answer that question yet, I'm afraid. There are links in the description for the project page. From there, you should be able to find the other things that you might want. There's like towards the bottom of the description. Towards the bottom of the description, there's kind of a bit more informational stuff. Obviously, the sponsor links are at the top, and then you've got some information at the bottom. Attach the arms to the frame. Thread each arm on its respective lead screw. Loosening the lead screw in its coupler might help here. Attach the arms to the MGN carriages. Alright, it wants me to do, okay. Need some lead screws. Ta-da! Here's some I prepared earlier. Chat's going far too quickly for me to be able to read it and progress it at the same time rather. So instructions, lead screws we've got, so these are going to need to come out of these. This is like trying to find the end of a roll of tape. I'm not sure why these are wrapped in so much of this stuff. One. I really want to cut this, but because it's right next to the rail, Oh, there we go. You know what would be a good test for heat resistance is running like repeated positioning steps again and again. Oh wow, that's so much easier. Why did I not do that before? I thought the hands were sealed. Okie dokie. Yeah, if you had a G code, on the Duet, I know there's one for Z, and it'll like, you can get it to like probe 6 times and tell you the repeatability. Something like that, where you're like homing and maybe moving to the opposite end of the axis and back over the course of a few hours as you're heating. And then if you're getting deformation, you'll see that change in the data. Could be a fairly good way of doing it. Maybe a bit of a pain, not totally sure. How long have we been going already? 37 minutes. As there's quite a few people here at the moment, we've just had a bit of an influx as well by the looks of it. I'm going to take this opportunity to do a quick little message from, well, the full message from the sponsor. So just a little 2-minute break. I'm going to get a drink in that time. It's literally 2 minutes, so just to say thank you. None of it would have been possible without them. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, Ratrig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. The Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus balances value and performance. It's focused on small and medium-sized machines for those that want the quality and reliability of a Duet control board but don't want the high price or high power output of the full-size Duet 3 mainboard. The Mini 5 Plus provides 5 onboard drivers and the normal complement of heaters, fans, I/O, etc. There are Wi-Fi and Ethernet variants with the option of using a single board computer, like a Raspberry Pi, for control, in the same manner as you might with other Duet 3 boards. 3D Printz is a UK-based filament supplier, but in recent times have become so much more. They're now a great destination for finding name brand components from all over the world, such as the Antlabs BL Touch, Wham Bam Systems, flexible build plates, 3D Gloop, Magico, Bondtech, Slice Engineering, and more. If you're in the UK and Europe, and maybe further afield too, you might want to check out their shop for your next printer upgrade. In the UK, you'll also be able to take advantage of their free shipping for orders over £50. Ratrig is a company that you may not have heard of yet, but if you're into DIY 3D printers, or camera sliders, then we're going to change that today. The VCore 3 is a fully configurable CoreXY 3D printer kit. It's gone through several iterations over the years, and all the knowledge and lessons learned have been distilled into the VCore 3. MGN linear rails, low vibration idlers, robust 3030 extrusion frame, and 9mm belts are just some of the key selling points. Today, I'm looking at the 300mm cube default configuration, but it's also available in 400mm and 500mm cubes for those that like their printers big, and with lots of configuration options too. Keep watching to find out more, or if you need more details immediately, you can find the links in the video description. Wonderful. Thank you very much to the sponsors. So, carrying on, it is now time to attach these to the rest of the printer. So what we need to do is obviously get the printer back and make sure we have all the screws that we need. M3x20 screws. The rest can go back in the box for now. So this is going to land right in the middle. Let's get this machine back. 1, 2, 3, lift. How's the top doing? Kind of weird view. Let's go for the back one first. Hopefully we can see that okay. No, that's not focused at all, really. Okie dokie. So, the straight arm is the one that goes on the back. Looks like that's going to go on there. Need to add these lead screws, and they're going to be a bit greasy, I think. Or are they? No, maybe not. So that just threads into the nut block. I'm going to do a whizzy to get these round. Lovely jubbly. Now that looks really not straight. Like really not straight. Oh no, that's okay. Cool. There's an M3 by 20 screws. Don't send the pins flying. Not sure quite what you mean. Oh, the pins where the ball rests on. How would I send them flying? They're pretty stuck in. Can't actually see that one, so I don't know if it's going in. I feel like it's probably not. Where did that screw go? It's difficult to do rather when you can't see it. There we go. So there's going to be some calibration of getting that distance set right, but that's presumably going to happen in a little minute. Now we've got to make sure we get these the right way. So that's going, yeah, that wouldn't be right. So this one's got to be here. Oh, you meant don't send them flying when I'm doing this. Yeah, they're really strongly in there, so I don't think anything is going to be shooting out anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, I don't think there's any way those little pins are going to come out. Good evening, Computer Techie. Thank you for joining us. Why is this not going in? Hit the like button. They are well and truly in place once installed. Back up to 90 people now. I think on Saturdays at a slightly later time helps, doesn't it? After about 8:30, there's more people available. Do like this. This looks good. Really, very nice indeed. This last one I'm going to do facing me. Oh, I forgot to put the lead screw in. Hopefully I can just do it from here. Right. Thread the cap head screws and 3x30 through the cable relief part and attach to the arm. So that's this small black piece here. which you can't see. Go over here. Oh, I've lost that. Was it M3x30? M3x30 and some M3 hex nuts. I kind of wish it asked me to put these on before I'd assembled it to the frame. I feel like that probably would have been easier. I can't wait to see it in action as well. I'm so kind of excited to see its motion. Oh, come on. So which way up does this part go? Looks like screws at the base, so like this way. Bear in mind, I can't see what I'm looking at. Somewhere about there. Oh, I think I see why they put this on afterwards. Oh, these are not pushed through far enough, I don't think. It does still go in. I suspected that was the reason for not doing it before, but this looks like it would have still been possible. I think the motion for that would be really complex, because as you tilt this way, I suppose it would rotate around those 2 points, but because it's, oh, I didn't, yeah. Would be pretty cool if that could do that. Yeah, slicer, definitely limitation, but I'm not sure it would be a major advantage, because you're obviously limited in how far that bed can move before you start to get really weird issues. For example, the bed colliding with the gantry. So the goal is to ensure, so obviously we're looking at alignment of the lead screws now. The goal is to ensure the lead screws are parallel to the rails, obviously, okay. This step is very important to ensure proper print quality. The Z motor mounts were designed to allow some adjustment. We'll take advantage of that here. If needed, loosen the 4 screws holding the front motor mounts and move the rotor around to achieve proper lead screw alignment. Proper alignment is when the arm does not bind in any point. Ensure the alignment of the back lead screw by allowing the mount to move in X with M5 screws. Alignment in Y of the back lead can be achieved by loosening of the M3 screws holding the motor to the mount. If you did not already, at this point make sure to fasten all screws in the MG-M rails. Yes, let's fasten all the screws in the MG-M rails. For the pricing, you'd need to check in with the website. The link should be the first one in the description. Voucher there, but ow! Oh, see, that's what happens when you think about more things at once than you want to. There's a link in the description, and there's a voucher code for €25 off for anyone that wants to make a purchase. Yes, that did ouch. Might be third or fourth for you guys. don't even want to start counting how many. Obviously I get them for review, so that's a bit of a different matter. Right. So that's the MG-M rails. Now we've got to make sure the lead screws are aligned. So how are we going to decide on the way we're doing this? First, we need to be able to loosen these screws down here. I believe that's what it means. You need to loosen 4 screws holding the front of motor mounts and move the, yes. Ooh. Well, that's not it. No. Okay. That's all right. Move this, and we should be able to get to it. Oh. Let's make sure we turn it up. Put them in way there. So I'm also going to tighten this in here. Okay, so what we want to do is find a way where said distance on one side is same as the distance on the other side. Not going to be that easy to do, in fact. Oh, yes, good point. So that's does it say that? Don't think it does. But you're right. Because obviously if it's resting on the motor shaft, then you're not getting the effect of the bearing taking the load, are you? Right, still not got a way measuring this gap. I mean, eyeballing it is obviously an option. Doesn't seem like a great option. Yeah, I can't get calipers in there to take a decent measurement. That's the problem. Oh, what about this way? That's potentially a method. Here we go. This will do. So depth from the outside of the lead screw. Right, let's zero it first. It is zeroed. 35.1. Okay, it's too far up. Problem is there we go. It was bending at the top, which is obviously no good. So if we move this up to the top, then the lead screw won't bend when we try to measure it. Does it say approximately what it should be? It doesn't, because obviously it's going to vary depending on how you've mounted this central part as well. So. $34.65, 35.1. I mean, really, this should probably be done in 2 dimensions rather than 1. So you have one for X rather than Y, because at the moment, if I'm just doing this, then it can be still anywhere in this orientation. Ooh, this is not going to be difficult. Okay, not going to be easy, rather. It is going to be difficult. Can't really measure that very easily. $34.7. $34.78. I might call that good enough. The arm is constrained by the rail. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's constrained, but you get, I suppose, because of this coupler, it wouldn't. This doesn't even look. This coupler is not even sitting. This coupler looks wobbly as anything. It might just be my eyesight. No, I'm sure. Not sure. Anyway, I think that one's going to be definitely good enough. Let's try this one now. And again, we're going to move the carriage all the way up as far as we can. Of course, yeah, why? If you have this all the way at the bottom, then that should put it in the right position. That is one method I've actually used before, so why am I thinking differently here? Need to remove this little red stopper. Sorry, this camera's just been in the wrong place the whole time. Let's move it back temporarily. Get some side cutters to just help grip it. I'm not going to lie, my head's still a bit sore from when I smacked it on the machine. Oops. Yeah, the reason that I think doesn't work so well is because there's quite a lot of give in the acetal nut, so it can go through this at any angle, which means you can move this around even when it's at its lowest position. So that would be a reason why that method is perhaps not as good as one might expect. 33.33. 34. Oh, how do I? Oh, I can't really adjust this one anyway. Could maybe loosen this nut a tiny little bit. Nope. Yeah, so because this one is mounted with these two down the bottom, are these too smaller? It's not even zeroing properly now. That'll be close enough. Day 3.4. Day 3.7. I think that's going to be close enough. Careful not to do these ones too tight down the bottom, because that's going to cause problems if we do. Yeah, I think you would need some, if you were going to use a jig, obviously you'd want something that attaches to like this extrusion and then has a position where you can set this. That gives you some slop, some slack in the palm nut, so you can move that back and forwards, and that would then give you the two positions to get a nice straight line. I am a big fan of assembly jigs, just in case anyone hadn't already noticed, in the fact that I mention them like every single stream. But in my opinion, they're really, as long as it's suitable for the assembly you're doing, they can be really, really useful for improving the assembly speed, if nothing else. Blimey, we're over 100 viewers. Very, very good. If you are enjoying the stream, feel free to leave a like or subscribe, you know, those things. Evening, Sam. I did watch some of your stream the other night. Was that last night? Friday night? Thursday? I've totally lost track. It was good to watch. Very informative. I'm going to try the eyeball technique. My eyeball says there. This is the 300 by 300 by 300. It looks enormous, and it is, but not as enormous as the 500 cube would be. I mean, the fact it's just be blooming huge. I'm glad I went for this size. Anything bigger, and I'd never get any space in my room for it. 35.6. $34.6. What was it? 35.4. Damn it, the eyeballing strategy was not super great. Seems like it's meant to be 35, so let's just try. Yep, so yeah, a few people have said that moving the 500 is impossible. Just get to that certain size and suddenly your doorways are your biggest challenge. My axis here is off. I didn't notice this before. It's a bit slanted. Does appear that the eyeballing technique has come back, doesn't it? Oops. I want a filament that can withstand heat and is water resistant but easier to print than ABS. PETG is good depending on obviously what temperature you're talking about. Otherwise, you can look into like an ABS Plus or a easier printed version of ABS. ASA is always an option. It's generally a bit easier to print than ABS. ASA is. The downside is layer adhesion properties are really generally quite pants, unless you again have a slightly modified one, which is always possible. I'm not sure quite what you mean by water resistance. I mean, the water itself will generally not affect a print, I don't think. Okay, I think we're pretty good there. Oh yeah, if you're just looking for something that's better than PLA, PETG is a great option. It gives you an extra 30 something degrees over PLA. That's Celsius and is also super easy to print. Right, assemble the bed plate. Right, I'm going to move this out of the way. For people with a 400 and 500 printers, how on earth do you lift it? It must, forget the fact that you've got to get it out of a door. Just moving the blooming thing around. There's got to be a challenge and a half being able to lift it. Right. It's going to be time for another quick message from the sponsors. I'm going to go wash my hands and get ready to deal with the bed because I don't want grease and oil all over it. So I'm going to do that quickly. I shall be back in about 2 minutes when the short advert about the sponsors has finished. So see you in 2 minutes. This live stream would not have been possible without our sponsors, Ratrig, Duet 3D and 3D Printz. The Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus balances value and performance. It's focused on small and medium-sized machines for those that want the quality and reliability of a Duet control board but don't want the high price or high power output of the full-size Duet 3 mainboard. The Mini 5 Plus provides 5 onboard drivers and the normal complement of heaters, fans, I/O, etc. There are Wi-Fi and Ethernet variants with the option of using a single board computer, like a Raspberry Pi, for control, in the same manner as you might with other Duet 3 boards. 3D Printz is a UK-based filament supplier, but in recent times have become so much more. They're now a great destination for finding name brand components from all over the world, such as the Anklabs BL Touch, Wham Bam Systems, flexible build plates, 3D Gloop, Magico, Bondtech, Slice Engineering and more. If you're in the UK and Europe, and maybe further afield too, you might want to check out their shop for your next printer upgrade. In the UK, you'll also be able to take advantage of their free shipping for orders over £50. Ratrig is a company that you may not have heard of yet, but if you're into DIY 3D printers, or camera sliders, then we're going to change that today. The VCore 3 is a fully configurable CoreXY 3D printer kit. It's gone through several iterations over the years, and all the knowledge and lessons learned have been distilled into the VCore 3. MGN linear rails, low vibration idlers, robust 3030 extrusion frame, and 9mm belts are just some of the key selling points. Today, I'm looking at the 300mm cube default configuration, but it's also available in 400mm and 500mm cubes for those that like their printers big, and with lots of configuration options too. Keep watching to find out more, or if you need more details immediately, you can find the links in the video description. Right, good, let's carry on. So we've got the bed and stuff all back here, so let's bring that over. Oh, the camera's going to start going a bit mental, I think. Let's try and fix the focus on that. Focus. Apply. There we go. So, where were we? Assemble the bed plate. So let's get the heater out the way for now. And the surface. So this is the big old heat plate, bed plate. It is quite beautiful, isn't it? I'm not sure which way up I want this, but I do want to have a slightly easier way of grabbing it. Not using that though. I need to put something under the corner really. So, countersink M5x16 to the 12mm balls through the 6mm spaces. So these are some 6mm spaces. Three of those. Some balls. And some M5x16 screws. I have no idea which is better because I have not finished this one and I do not own a Voron, so can't really pass judgment there, I'm afraid. I've done that wrong, what am I doing? Why are there holes in the corners? Looks like there's more holes than needed. Ooh, glass on the plate. Kind of nice idea that, just to show it off. Unfortunately, I think mine's going to be totally covered up by the time we're finished. I see, yes, makes sense. So it's going to be pretty difficult to tighten these much because obviously the only thing you've really got to hold on the other side is the ball. And obviously balls are well known for being fairly round. I don't know if it comes across on camera quite how ridiculously shiny this is. It's nice. So we've got those on. So now we're going to do the heat up. Right. Lost count how many times I've done this process now. Obviously only once for this machine, but I've like these silicone mats and squeeging it down and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to need a few bits and bobs to do this. Some towel, some OPA. This is not 100% mandatory, but I do personally recommend wiping down the mat or wiping down the plate before sticking stuff to it, just to make sure you get the best possible adhesion for the longest possible time. you can just see from the cloth how much dirt you do actually get off of it. So while it looks very shiny and clean, there is still plenty of dirt on it. So worth doing, in my opinion. Doesn't take too long, and if you've got IPA, it's worth a quick scrub. Let's move that out of the way. So next we've got to mount the bed. So obviously you only get one shot at doing this. Once this adhesive touches this plate, it will be basically impossible to move. So whatever you do, don't screw it up. So double checking, of course, orientation. So we've got matching to what we see on the screen. These two at the top, one in the middle with this hole on this side and the balls facing upwards. So it looks like we're good to mount in this position. So fortunately with this one, it doesn't actually fill the whole plate. That could be good or could be bad. Let's see how big the plate is compared to the build volume. What are we committing to here? So plate, well, the heater is 280 and the build volume we're expecting is 300. So that looks like you might get some slightly cold edges, but aluminium does conduct really, really well, so hopefully won't be too bad. I would have really liked to see personally the mat meet the 300, so at least you've got consistent heating over the full build area. I'm going to use this, I think, as well. Is this going to be necessary? Probably not for this. Probably will be for the actual print surface though. So now I've got to do this on stream without making a balls up on it. I always get super nervous doing it. It's actually, I think, almost more difficult when you're not doing it to the edges, because you've got nothing to really align it against very easily. I might stand up, it might give me a slightly better angle. So I'm going to start just by taking off the top corner, checking I've not removed the adhesive itself, aligning it. So I know I'm in position, but the sticky corner's not down yet. Hopefully my head's not too much in the way. I know it's probably going to be a lot in the way because that's where the camera is. And then once we're happy with the position, placing down the corner, making sure to stick it down really nicely, trying to work from the corner inwards so any bubbles move out this direction. And then we just pull back the adhesive underneath. Try not to bend the heated mat too much. And then we just carry on doing this all the way across. And I think I'm going to use this. The bed does come with a thermal fuse. You can see that fitted here. I don't know what temperature that fuse is actually rated for, because obviously you can't see it once it's fitted. There you go. That's how you do that. Now, some people say that you should also add a silicone bead around the outside. It's not mentioned in the instructions here, so it's not something I'm going to do right now. But if you want to, or I would probably suggest it actually, silicone adhesive, silicone sealant kind of stuff that you use for a bathroom, but you can get stuff that's rated for like 150 degrees Celsius. You can just stick a decent bead right around the edges here to make sure that the edges of the mat don't peel up or droop down from the bed over time. Righty-ho. So that's how you do that. Yes, didn't mess it up. So we've got an extra hole for a ground wire here. Wiring and stuff's probably not going to be today, so that'll be later videos. Is this, I think I should probably bow. It looks pretty straight as well. I'm happy with that. Attach the print surface of your choosing. This step depends on the print surface type of your choosing, but in general it's always a good idea to clean the surface from dirt and grease. Attach the print surface. So now we've got to do a very similar operation on the other side. So let me show you what we've got in here. Not only is it a beautiful gold colour, so this is two parts. So this part is a steel bedsheet, presumably spring steel, but I don't know that it is. So it's not quite flat, but that's not really that big a problem. Textured surface. So that's going to be our actual surface. So we don't need to do anything with that right now, but we do need to deal with this. So this is the magnet, which we need to stick onto the plate. So that's going to fall off there. So we need to do basically the same process, but flip it over to the other side. Now, obviously, this magnet is basically, for all intents and purposes, symmetrical, I believe. We'll double check the dimensions before we set it down. Don't know why I've still got this plastic here, but I have. So let's try it out and then clean it up and we'll stick it down. So, in this case, it's going to go over the screws, which is not super ideal. I'd rather we avoid the screw heads. The image suggests it doesn't meet the screw heads, but it does. So I think we might cut out the corners of the magnetic sheet. I'm not sure if this is necessarily advisable, but I really don't want to stick them straight over, and it's going to be much easier to cut this magnet before putting it down rather than after. So I think that's going to be something I do right now. Get some big fat scissors and we're just going to gently cut the corners off. So somewhere around 45 degrees. Let's have another little fit just to make sure that, that sits how we want it to. Yeah, that gives us a good little gap all the way around. Plenty of space away from the holes. So now we're just going to repeat basically the same process as we did on the other side. This is a bit more difficult because it's a bit more floppy, but just follow the same process and we'll be just fine. Oh, screw at the back center, yes. Of course there is. I'm a fool and I did the corners. So this one here. Might have got a bit over the top on that one. But that'll work. So we've got to just make sure that that doesn't go That's fine. Plenty of gap there. Yes, thank you for whoever mentioned that. Justin, good shout. For some reason, because these are countersunk, I was still looking at those corners. Ah, yes, the earthing screw hole. I think I might be half asleep today. We'll do that as well in a second. So should probably have done the earthing screw hole before I did that, but I missed that one a bit, didn't I? Okay. So just repeating the same process as before. Firstly trying to get the sticky back off. Bit of a mission. There we go. $129 people. People really want to see this. So again, just trying to line it up, make sure it's in a sensible position before we commit to exactly where it's going to stay for its entire life. And then pressing the corner down. And then start, oh, this is going to be more difficult. Third hand would be really useful here to hold this side of the bed down. Oh, and the, okay. Because of the way we've cut this, it doesn't pull off, but that's fine. Unfortunately, it looks like we might have got a small bubble in the middle. Despite my best efforts. Yes, wiring not all included. As far as I can tell, because your heaters and stuff come with wires anyway, the extra thing that you need is the motor wires kit and the end stop kit. I think that's the extra bit of wiring. Everything else already has its own wiring. Of course, we'll get to all of that when we sort of get to that part of the assembly process. I'm not sure if, I think it's something physically under there, unfortunately. I don't think that's a bubble. I think it's something harder. A piece of dirt or something, unfortunately. So, what's next? Place the bed on the arms. Place the assembled bed on the bed arms. Secure the bed wires to the bed cable relief part with zip ties. Okie dokie, let's take a look at that. So let's place this back out of the way first, then we'll pull the printer in. We can place it on. This is going to be even heavier once it's got the bed on as well. I still have a precision bed set I ordered from Filler Farm after a video on it. Haven't committed to installing it yet, partly because I'm no electrician and kind of nervous with mains. It's understandable that you'd be nervous. These things can be a little bit dangerous. I'd encourage you to just plan everything out, have a go, and then double check everything before you turn anything on. Stay out of the way of anything once you turn it on, so that if something does happen, you're not, at least it's not to you. That's generally what I tend to do. And of course, double, triple check. Make sure you get information from multiple sources to verify that it's correct. That kind of thing, and I'm sure you'll get there. A qualified electrician can also help. Right. Let's get these bedposts fairly even-ish. And let's find a good way to make sure we're capturing this. Not sure what's going to be visible from anywhere. More camera angles, more better, apart from difficult to work with. So I'm hoping this will just go in from the side. Oh, get the bit out of the way. Would you look at that? That is impeccable. It looks like the least flat bed, but obviously it's designed. Oh, that's so cool. You probably can't really see it very well from that angle. Let me try and find you a better angle. Difficult to see. Maybe from there, if I do this, you see the whole bed just kind of rotates. Evening, Pavel. I mean, you might be a little bit late, but good to see you. Just playing with the bed. What an absolute masterstroke. Blooming fantastic. I don't know if I want to put the zip ties on the bed just yet. That's quite all right. You do what you need to do, man. 22:10. We might not be going much more anyway, because we've done the bed assembly and that was what I was aiming to do today. Let's get a zip tie or two in this. This is going to be crazy heavy. Are the linear rails genuine? They are genuinely linear. Genuine what? They're not branded linear rails, but from what I can see so far, they're super smooth all the way along the length. So it looks like they should be absolutely fine. I'm just grabbing a couple of zip ties. Hold this bed cable in. These are like the weediest, pathetic, most zip ties I've got probably, but do for now. I'm struggling to keep up with chat. There's so much to read and I can't read fast enough to keep up with it and answer stuff, so sorry about that. So there's so many people here, I want to keep going, but it's also super late already. So that's going to be it for the bed assembly. What's the next part? EA2 cabbage. Oh, I don't know if I can manage this. I think we're going to have to call it for today there. Then this will be main subject of the next video. I'm really happy with where we got to though. This bed is literally the coolest thing I've ever seen. Look at it. The way it moves is just ridiculous. When this gets powered, we're going to program some funky dance moves into the bed. Boop 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 boop. Oh man, this is silly. So we are going to call it for a day there. If you're interested, we may be back tomorrow evening if I can get the timing in. Maybe tomorrow evening. Not 100%, maybe tomorrow evening. I'll try and give you a little bit more notice for when it is going to be on than I did today. Almost just put that right on my foot. So normally I try to put up a kind of the schedule in the morning, as it were, so that by the evening you've had at least a part of a day to get everything else out of the way if you want to stick around and watch. Okay, it's a promise. See you tomorrow. No, it's not a promise. It might. I don't have much else to do, I don't think, so we should be okay to do that. That's really weird that that camera's just creepily looking at me. Let's put that down there. For those that are maybe not normally watching, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified for when that next live stream is. I'm really looking forward to the EVA assembly, which is the kind of super, I want to say modular, super versatile hot end and extruder assembly. Got all the bits here. Let's not get that up. That's going to be for next time. Super excited to start getting on with that. So yes. Okay, looks like everyone apart from me is convinced it's tomorrow. I do really want to carry on with it, so we'll see where we get to. I just end up like in the middle of a live stream if I've forgotten something that I need to do tomorrow. I don't want to then, yeah, you know what it's like. Thank you all for joining me this evening though. It's been good fun. Hopefully it's been useful for anyone in the future or currently who's building one and just wanted a little bit of extra visual representation of what's going on, or just people looking for information and maybe looking to buy one. If you do want to buy one, there is a link in the video description. And I should actually, before we finish, do one last quick, oh, we already did 2 ad sponsors, didn't we? So that's fine. We're good to go there. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Goodbye for now, and I will see you maybe tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, or whenever the next one is for anyone else. Bye, 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 and